Oh, that's right. There, he's probably going to host for Discourse Syndicate. I think is doing another like giveaway day where they're doing their thing. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're doing that long. I think you just come. I mean, I know RG3 is incredibly long-winded. You're like, dog, just pick the fucking shit. I get it. We all gotta watch.
All right, we are on at least YouTube. What is going on, everybody? I know Hexo is wrapping up, as I can see in the other stream, so I don't want to step on his toes too much. So we're not going to get into the Hex talk that much yet. We will do it here shortly. Did want to bring on Big Kurk. Welcome.
What's up?
Couple reasons. I mean, since the inception or before of Hex, but also you took the Cabana challenge head on, man, and in a really cool way that I didn't even. I mean, there's so many people that did so many different ways to figure out or just enjoy the challenge, and it was amazing. I'm gonna go through them here and give a bunch of shout outs here shortly, but you went virtual, man.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. I mean, I'll be like fully honest to people. The last like week and a half, I fell off pretty hard. I have like a newborn, and it's just been like very. I mean, it's not to say that I haven't been filling up my little circles on the watch or whatever. Like I've been working out a fuck ton just with this kid, man. He's been a little cranky. But other than that, yeah, man, the first 3 weeks I hit it hard. I was doing it almost every day, if not like every other day, and it felt great, man. It was an awesome experience, and like it took a little bit to get it all figured out, like how to get restream in my ear so I could hear people's comments while I'm still, going at it. But it worked real well. I mean, I definitely think I'll keep it up, man. I wouldn't say I made my challenge, but I'm pretty close. I mean, I'm almost down.
What was your goal?
I mean, I want to get down. I'd love to get down to 185. Like I don't think I'll ever do it. I think it's like one of those unattained, like very, very close to hard to do goals. But I mean, I'm like I'll probably about like 212 or so, and now I'm under 200 pounds. Like I was like 210. About like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I've really hit like was doing intermittent fasting a lot, and like pretty much this whole time, and have been working out a whole bunch, and like by doing that, I've lost a bunch of weight, feel much better. I mean, can't complain. I mean, really, I started the virtual thing when I was out in Puerto Rico. I like just had like kind of like tried it out, doing the virtual workouts, and loved it. Loved it. I mean, the virtual reality screen thing is it's cool. I mean, it's not like the greatest, amazing, perfect graphics ever, but like for what you're doing, I mean, you're just fucking working out, man, and like and I can do it anywhere. I can do it in my garage, like everyone saw, I'm somewhere chill, hanging out and enjoying the view with somebody telling me to slash things, and whatever, which I mean, you get pretty turned up doing that.
So I've seen like online where, you have like these epic fails. Have you ever had one?
Oh, yes, I have. Holy crap. Okay, so I was in Puerto Rico like a few months ago, and like, I mean, oh man, I feel it already in my finger. Like this, I was inside inside the living room, and I had everything pushed away, but I guess obviously not. At first, when I started doing the thing, I'd like make my boundary as like close to the edges of everything as I could, like, yeah, I need like as big a boundary as I need. Well, like that's stupid, because like if I go even a little bit outside of it, which I did, I was like, well, like down, like a downward strike, and just I'm talking hit the edge of where the TV stand so hard, and like gashed my finger open. Like, I mean, it was blood everywhere. And at first, I was like, I'm okay. No, I'm not okay. I was not okay. I was very hurt. It was very, very, very painful. I was Yeah. What's that?
That was the worst one, or
That was the worst one. I've had one like right when I first started out. There's this game Super Hot that you could play. That's like it's kind of like a slow motion. Like when you start moving, everybody like these figures move as well and try and shoot you or slice you or whatever or get to you. And but if you stay still, they freeze too. So like when you're free, you like stay still, right? And you're like, okay, there's two dudes there, there's a dude there, there's a gun down there, and there's a brick over there. And like grab the brick, throw the brick, and like by then they're shooting at you. So then you gotta like dodge the bullet, and stay still. And like it's kind of a unique, game to play. And so as I was playing it, I'm like leaning up against like a console in like a space room or whatever in the game. And like I felt like I was in the console in the space room or whatever. So like I just straight up leaned right over on the console until there's no console there. I just fell right over, like right on my just straight on my face on the mat. Like
that's the kind that you would actually see online that would go viral.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could like I'm sure if you saw me, like, why is he leaning he's leaning too far? Oh, that's it. I just fell right over, man. So yeah, that was a first fail. And I mean also on the bad end of it, like I highly recommend if you're like be careful with the space games. Like there's a like Journey on the Space Station, which seems like boring as shit, and it is, but you have to like climb through the space station and like go get a box or whatever. But the 3D like space feel fucking is so disorienting that I couldn't handle it. Like I got sick within like I'm within like at first I was like I could handle this. I could do it. Climb up the thing and whatever. And like within 3 minutes I was like I had to take this off, go lay down. I had to like get vertical for like a solid 20 minutes before I was like, okay, I'm back to reality. So it can be a little disorienting if you're not used to it,
But after you get done one of these things, it certainly looked like it when I would watch them live. You feel like it was like
I was sweating my ass off. I would be pouring sweat by the end of it for sure. Like if I was gonna go further, like as I go further now, I liked the idea. I already like got some of these. They're coming. Some like weighted wristbands, like that I feel like will up the game a little bit more, because like now I feel confident with like the medium like speed ones. I can pretty much do them pretty regularly, and like unless it's over a 30-minute workout, like I can plow through it. I can do that, no problem. But yeah, so a little bit extra work on it there would be great, and oh no, it just came down on me. So yeah, anyways, we'll just put it sideways like that. That's good.
Yeah, no
yes. So yeah, that's I would say that that's I forgot where I was with that. Yeah, the workouts are pretty good. I like they definitely are hard. Like I don't think I've started to do a couple of the extra hard ones, and like the speed is just too. It's like I am just not that quick. I am not saying I can't do them, but I'm not great at them yet. Like
she would like up the, when I say she, the instructor would like up the tempo towards the end of it, and you're like just
yeah, you get behind quick if you're not, it's like you just got to stay moving and focused, and like just so that it is a focus thing too, which is pretty kick-ass. There's also like this thing called TRIPP that's like a meditation, like Zen chill thing that it has too. That's actually pretty cool too. I hit the massage chair over here behind me and friggin' relax it out. It's pretty
nice. Yeah,
he's
something that struck me a little bit, and it the same is about goal setting. And I was tweeting back and forth with Steph about this, because we sounds like me, you, and him all set our goals pretty high,
yeah.
And some unachievable. And so I'm still working on mine. He said he was he's definitely inspired to keep going through the end of the year at least. And
me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I had 3 of them. I had knocked out my plank goal, so I got over 4 minutes. I'm super happy with that. But push-ups, I set it for 66, and I haven't done that since, I don't know, years and years. So I got it up to 55. So a little bit more to go there. And
That's
then,
pretty damn good, though, man. That's pretty damn good. I mean, it's getting there. An extra 10, 11 on that's going to be tough.
oh yeah, it sucks. It feels good, man. Like shirt's a little tighter, you know. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like you feel it. Like you're just,
Yeah.
oh man. And that's the point of it. I mean, it was only 30 days, and I think I mentioned this when I announced that, a month ago, and it was just like, just a little change can go a long way. And I think Funding Jim was, saying, takes 30 days, and you can make a habit out of it and keep going, and it can, be a real beneficial change for you. And
Oh yeah.
I feel great. You just take that leap to make the commitment to get back into it, and you're in, man. And now it's the reverse. So it's hard getting in, like really hardcore and working out regularly. But once you stop, I think everybody who's worked out knows this. If you take a break or you don't have the time, then you start feeling bad because your body's used to it and you're used to that adrenaline. And
Yeah.
so it's like, it's incentive to keep going.
For sure. Oh yeah, you feel like, I mean, when I would have like 2 days, 3 days off, like I'd be like, oh man, what is, like, and you notice it the next day after that too. Like you'd be like, okay, I need to pick it up a little bit more to just get back to where I was doing easily, a few days ago.
Yeah. Well, along those lines of talking goals and everything for the Cabana Challenge, since we've now wrapped it up, launch phase is over, and of course we're going to get into all that. Have a bunch of shout outs to do here for everybody, at least that I saw, that did the hashtags. And of course we're talking to Big Kurk right now, who is in it. RG3, actually was chatting with him today. He's down 8 pounds. I didn't even know he was on board, but yeah, he's like, I lost 8 pounds, and he's feeling great. I know Coffee was in there. He mentioned, I think he was doing stuff with weights in the beginning. Serena, I think everybody knows Serena.
Yeah.
Her goals were 369 squats a day and increase daily workouts from 30 to 60 minutes. These are all the goals here. Stylist 191. I saw he was cycling for the challenge. Hexet, squats and yoga. Middle class working man. His goal was losing 10 kilograms in 30 days. Yash Deep, and this is why I love the diversity in this whole thing, because the whole point was like, make it your own, and do you do you. He was Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, nice.
How cool is that? I mean, we got virtual workouts, we got Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Kareem he posted some photos. I mean, he was looking good. Let's see. Expecting Millions was in the gym. His goal.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I think Hexa just hosted over to us too. So,
oh, cool.
What's up, everybody?
Yo.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. Expecting.
Right. I want to welcome everyone. So it's me and Big Kurk talking the end of the Cabana Challenge. Of course, end of launch phase just happened. So a lot to talk about there. We wanted to put a bow on the Cabana Challenge before we get to all the fun stuff that I know everybody wants to talk about. And I know Kurk's been jonesing all day, really, to talk about it in our chats. But yeah, it was just going down the uniqueness of everybody's goal sets in this challenge. The whole point was for everybody to make it their own, do something that you found that could inspire you, motivate the HEX community. So go through all these workouts. I just mentioned, like Yashdeep was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu for his workout of the past 30 days. And we got into, Kurk's next on my list here. He was doing virtual workouts. We just talked a whole bunch about that before Hexo threw it over to us. But anything else for everybody that just joined you want to say? Because I was watching them live, and it was fun to watch, and we already went over the fail stories in the past. But, anything you want to know?
Oh man, nothing. If everybody, I think that I'm gonna keep doing them. So like, I think I'll kind of mix it up with like a workout and some talk afterwards. But yeah, I had a great time doing it, and really enjoyed playing playing along with it. It's definitely something that I recommend. Like if you have a hard time working out and need some motivation, like some people work like I was always the kind of person that played team sports. I played a lot of hockey when I was younger, and it's real easy for me to be motivated for the game. You know, like it's not as easy for me to find motivation at a Tuesday practice. You know,
Yeah.
so if you can couple that, you know, with like that's a good use of. I find a great use of like video gaming in general. Like if you're gonna use play games, I mean, it's a great outlet to do it in a physical kind of way that like. I mean, by the end of my workouts, I usually would be like beat tired and still want to keep. It's a game. I wanted to keep. Like if I had a whole extra set of stamina pill you know, powder or whatever, I would have been like, all right, let's do another game. You know, because it's fun. I mean, it's engaging.
Heck yeah. Well, speaking of workouts, let's welcome in this dude.
What's up?
How we doing?
In
I missed too much.
our HEX fitness model, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. How we doing, boys?
Great. Just talking about everybody's goals, wrapping up, putting a bow on the challenge before we talk some HEX. But how was your past 30 days? I saw you were posting like some meal plans and stuff that you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of, I mean, I won't call it trouble, but you know, just getting around and everything. So it was hard for me getting accustomed to everything and trying to find my way around the island. But I was able to, you know, go to a couple of gyms like Planet Fitness and stuff right now. And, you know, just basically just been trying to get bigger and everything. That's probably my goal right now. So I've been eating a lot more, you know. I always eat pretty healthy. I don't know about you guys, but just increasing size tends to be my goals.
And how long have you been, you know, just working out and like really, you know, hitting the gym hard?
I'd say, you know, 4 or 5 years, to be honest with you. You know, I was a soccer player and I tore my ACL like about 3 times. So I had to, you know, it sucks, right? So making that transition in my mind, I have to do something else. So I just turned to like lifting, you know. So that's been my go-to.
Nice.
Yeah. What about y'all?
I was just saying earlier that like I played a lot of hockey when I was younger, so team sports were like a big thing for me, and like did lifting and like track and field and stuff too, like fat man stuff, shot put, discus. You know, I was a thrower. But like I said, I mean, I loved playing team sports, and it was always hard finding motivation after that, you know, to stay fit. You know, it's hard to find it when you're in your 30s. Like who's I joined a men's league a while back, and when I was considerably younger, and like just very different. You know, the level of competition when dudes we're worried about breaking our hips and shit is just a lot different than it was when I was in my 20s and like, you know, really.
It's crazy because like me, like I was really athletic. Like I'm somebody who was like really fast, right? But as I got older, you know, being in my 30, right? You know, I'm still very fast, but now I have to pick the times when to do certain things when I'm playing with these younger kids, you know. And I'll still outsmoke them, but it's like I can't do it in the same manner, you know.
I feel you there, man, because I still play competitive hockey, and both my teammates and buddies on those teams or on that team are 15 years younger than I am. So it's like I said, you gotta do it a little different. You gotta prepare a little different because you can't do what you used to be able to do.
Yeah.
But it's
you get smarter. That's the thing too. You know.
Absolutely.
You predict what's going to happen. You know, these kids. If the kids have the same mindset as, you know, like people our age, when they're that early, you know, they would age better just physically as well. You know.
Yeah, and that's the experience thing coming in.
Exactly.
I
can think of how many different times that like I when I was younger I left my body out on the line, you know, like all out on the, you know, all out on the ice or field or whatever I was playing, you know, like that. Now I would be like, I mean, was that really necessary to like is that really why'd you do that? You hurt yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm definitely a little smarter with my maneuvers now.
For sure. Yeah. So
Go ahead.
When did you say you were coming back to Puerto Rico? Is it still after Big Payday? Or
Yeah, right after I got a spot. Right after Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving, I'll be down there.
Oh snap!
So
Are
yeah, I'll be down. We'll
You
be here
said
for.
Go ahead.
We got a couple of cool spots that like I'm bringing the whole fam, and we're gonna do a full crew trip right now, and for we'll be down there for about a month, and then once we're done, like then I'll come back up, tie up a few loose ends like Christmas time and stuff, and then we'll be back down probably by like February. I just signed a lease with a spot in Dorado too, so I'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to see you, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be lots of fun, man. It's gonna be lots of fun. We'll have to check. Like I said, so many kick-ass places to check out, and I mean, lots of stuff that I haven't been to in a while too. That I'm like, and like a ton of stuff that I've been to when I was there that my wife hadn't been to, and so like the kids obviously either. So I'm excited to show it all off.
For sure.
How's the power and infrastructure situation down there? Because I thought I've heard parts of the island are still recovering.
I mean, they're forever recovering in some ways, like, I mean, there's, I mean, if you live in the mountains somewhere, like you got a tiny one power line into the area, like, and it's gonna, on top of a mountain, there's a good chance it's going to blow down a few times a month, or a few times a year or whatever. But for the most part, like where like I'm talking about being like the Dorado area and like San Juan and all that stuff, most of the infrastructure's like there's like you can find plenty of spots that have decent infrastructure and like the power lines there are pretty good. I mean, you might find some places that you might run out of like power might go out for something, but like a lot of spots have like a lot of the neighborhoods or complexes and stuff have big generators and stuff too. So I mean, that was something that I looked for when I was looking for a spot.
Yeah, I haven't had too many problems. Like electricity hasn't gone out for me yet. I mean, there's been some times where like you might like lights might flicker or something like that, but I haven't experienced any power outages yet. So
yeah, I was there for that one hurricane. Like it wasn't like a bad one this year when I was there earlier and a few months ago, and we lost, like I said, we lost power for like in the complex we were in, and go out for like a few hours, and then the generators would kick on and have it going for a while, and then like the generators would kick off at like certain times, so like you'd lose like until by the next day though everything was back up.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my hey, during the day, like pay attention to this shit phone ring, because like it's pretty annoying. Cantina song, it's like, all right, grab the phone, shut it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was about halfway through here with some shout outs. I just want to give everybody their props here. So yeah, Big Kurk was doing the virtual thing. That was awesome. AJ Curry, here's another one. He was doing hand strength, but he wasn't able to do a lot of the other more physical things. So he was like, all right, well, this is what I can do. And so he was doing like the hand grip thing posting every other day at least, I think.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was cool. Colin Hexander, my man, DDP Yoga. So I know what that's about, and it's
tough. It's tough. They think it's a joke, but it's no games.
No.
Yoga's no games.
No, especially DDP Yoga. Anybody who's watched a couple streams, especially me and Coffee, I've talked about it a couple times, and it is a workout. And I think for something, as you get older, it's not like you're in the gym and you're not taxing your joints, or you're not out there running and bouncing up and down on your knees. It's kind of like the opposite of that, where it's like controlled movement, but it's all about your positioning and strength, and you can get really tight by doing it once you get into it. It's just an awesome workout, and I highly recommend it, especially as you get older, because I think it reduces your risk of injury and it increases your flexibility, and you feel it. I mean, you can bend in ways that you couldn't do except for like 10 years ago. And once you get out of it, then it's hard to get back into it, but it's such a difference maker. So I encourage anybody to look into that. Let's see, we have Ryan, who is also he does some workouts that I'm into. He was a runner. Ryan Pello. Toby, who I think Richard replied to one time. He was hitting huge big time squats and deadlifts, post some videos out there. I mean, guy is huge and moving some serious weight. And speaking of weight, Motley investor, he was going for the 1,000-pound club. I got to catch up with him and see.
Yeah, I gotta talk to him.
Yeah. Our most active award I got to give to Sammy Chica down in Australia. She every day nonstop. I mean, she was just the most consistent. 5K walks, 8K walks. That was her thing, and she post photos and describe the workout. It was really cool. Lights out, weightlifting, squats, ropes. He was killing it there, and Anders Rothen with abs, push-ups, and he also did P90X. So I mean, I'm just going down the list here. So we got squats, cycling, yoga, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, hand grips, running, walking, and P90X, and heavy hitters in the gym with going for 1,000-pound club and stuff like that. So Hexagon community just knocked it out of the park with this thing, and I hope that it may have started something in you to keep it going, because Big Kurk and I were talking a little bit ago. I set my goals pretty darn high, and so did he. And I was talking with Steph, and he said his way up there too, and he's not there yet. I'm not there yet with a couple of mine, but they're out there, and I'm not going to stop until I get them. And it's like that carrot on a stick thing,
For sure. It'd be awesome. Maybe we can all try and get some kind of program just for Hexagons, or anyone who wants to join, and that'd be cool. Maybe I'll get into that and try to create some programs for Hexagons.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that. I mean, I'm close to enough hours to actually be a DDP instructor.
Nice.
Take the exam, I think, after a few more hours, but that'd be totally cool. I mean, if we're here for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Make some friends and stay in shape, and all that.
It's even crazier. Like here in Puerto Rico, I'm looking. There's so many opportunities to just I guess start businesses. Big K would know.
There is. I mean, it's there's wide open. Really, there's a lot of. If you've got a good ethic and a decent idea, there's room.
Yep. Even cheap buildings, for example, too. I know that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I guess that puts a bow on the first Cabana challenge. So tie it up, nice and neat, and
happy to participate.
Thank you guys for tweeting, hashtagging. I'm not just talking to Franklin, Big Kurk here, but everybody out there. It takes community to make something like that work. And I was reading all those names and all the different exercises and ways to get fit that everybody was posting. It was really cool, and it made me feel good. And I got some really kind words too. Just hey, it was a great idea, kind of thing. And thanks for motivating me and starting this up. So heck yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, are we ready for the fun stuff?
Yes.
All right. Well, Big Kurk has a drink. He wet his whistle because he's been getting excited all day. And where would you like to begin, good sir?
$600+ million stake yesterday.
Yes.
Holy shit. I mean, the fact that pie wheel is just you go on Hex Info and it's just woo, we're just going. I mean, it's and what's funny is that I don't know if it's going to happen how much OA staking is going to go down today, but right now is exactly where I thought that our big payday payouts would be on day one. I said you'd probably get max of if you're a short staker, max of a 0.8. Maybe a 3/4 bonus. That's what I thought, from day one. So if the OA stakes continuously as they have, and this continues to go down, another, let's say it doubles because we're at 45% right now. Is that I believe?
Yeah.
I believe about 45%.
Low 40s.
So So if that continues and we go for we get up to like 75% or so, then that's gonna 80%. Then that's gonna be closer to like you'll get a 0.4 like a 1.4 total. Your stack you get a 0.4x or whatever on top, which is still I mean man where do you
it's free, man. Like it's free. I love it, man. I love it. Like
and like it would be a marketing genius to use an event like this more for the marketing than for the money. I mean, that's what it's all for. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why, like, how many people set stakes that are going to last a long time because of this big payday? I mean, and they're not going to be let down. They're still going to get a fat payout at the end of everything. And like in 10 years, that big payday is really just going to be a blip on the radar. It's going to be not that much overall, compared to their main gains. So it's exactly what I was like. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like from the very get-go, that like there would be high staking from that to dilute those with short time horizons. I still think that there's going to be more, though. I think that I was wrong.
Honestly, I think we will see more price action downward. I believe. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 70% down. To be honest with you,
I can believe that.
Yeah, I could see it. He does. Richard does tend to say that a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised.
No, and like you have to remember, there's some things like why are you staking early to get the shares, not because you care about the price right now. That's one of the first things to understand. And secondly, the time, like the value of a hex changes several times over in these like this 4-day microcosm that I've been talking about. And like the value of hex changes very quickly when the share rate moves against that one hex and you can't get big payday bonus. There's two levers there that like if you end up on the wrong side of it with with a liquid hex, like by the nature of it should be worth less directly after big payday because of its it's not lack of, but like it's lowered utility. The utility of it has been reduced temporarily. Or like it's like comparatively reduced to what was before it. And so like the market will. I mean, maybe it's priced it in, maybe, but it's hard to price in 1 billion plus coins being unstaked. In a couple days.
Yeah, I think it's also crazy because you have a lot of people who were thinking about selling off short term, and they have these smaller stakes that are going to be realized, but they aren't going to immediately sell it off now. I
mean, there's there's a part of that there's part of people that I know that are like waiting to see what happens here, and then if hex goes to a low price, I mean, Richard even talks about it, like if people are going to sell, why not have them sell at a lower price?
Yeah,
that would be better because then they lose economic weight and they can't affect the price more later.
Great. And who would be the main ones to do that are probably sellers. So so it is what it is.
Yeah,
get them out.
Yeah, and they have every right to do that. And I mean, if you've been in it, if you've held on to your hex for a year now, or almost close to that, you can sell all you want. You're still up, and you're still happy. And I mean, like, sure, you'll be unhappy in another year and a half when things are, higher than they were before about it. But like, I mean, that's the game. That's like there's you definitely had to have a long time horizon. I mean, or been at the right exact times before these huge giant,
spike ups. Yeah, I agree.
And how? Let's see. Just talking the claims there on the far right did you think that number was going to be a lot more by the end of launch phase? No. Really? I thought it would be at least 5.
You're right. I thought it might have been about 4 or 5%. I thought it might have been higher, but but not much higher. Like I never was expecting anything over 10-15%. Like I realized that. I mean, I wouldn't say never. I would say that like.
I mean, it's a lot of Bitcoin.
There's a lot of Bitcoin. It is a lot of Bitcoin. I mean, but what I think about it though is that there's like that. Well, it's a lot of Bitcoin. There's just so many hard to reach people and hard to reach play like to get to people to make them like, and not just like geographically or language barrier, but like get through their heads that this is like something that they should do. You know, it's very difficult. I mean.
I think that the BTC gang, a lot of them fell for that FUD. So, you know, I think early on, and then they just stuck with that narrative, and you see those claims result because of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, what I would mean to say, kind of like temper what I said, is I out the gate thought that would be high. Like before Hex launched, I was expecting that to be like 10%. You know, more like at least 10 or 20%. You know, but once the first like month, the first big wave of what could be claimed was claimed, then I realized very quickly that like that wasn't going to be. I was way off. It was going to be much less. You know,
do you think that's mainly because of just hard to reach people not having access to their funds, or do you think it's just FUD had a huge part to play as well?
I think it's a little bit of everything, really. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think that like, sure, there's probably another couple percent that might have been due to FUD, but like, I think that a lot of Bitcoin is like the exchanges weren't, for whatever reason, weren't going to claim.
No.
Even the ones that could, they didn't. So that's a huge chunk right there. And I think that a lot of coins, I mean, there's like 5 million something coins that are just like dormant. So there's a lot of people that either lost them, don't have them, don't have access, whatever, you know, one way or another. There's huge chunks of coins. And like a lot of those coins that were dormant, you know, those ones are all early Bitcoin, you know. And so like most of them not on an exchange, not on a multi-sig wallet, not on anything that like they're claimable, you know. So that's a lot of coins to me that were not, you know, that we're never going to be able to be claimed, you know, like because those people just don't, they probably didn't even claim their Bitcoin Cash, you know.
Yeah, you got a good point there.
And that's another thing too that would be interesting that I have honestly until this very moment. It's strange that I never thought about this. I wonder if you could get get a write up of exactly how many people, like what percentage of all coins claimed their Bitcoin Cash when that was an opportunity to claim. Like what was. Like, was it 10% of all Bitcoin, 40%? You know, that's an interesting one to me because like, who else really gave people this claim opportunity that are big top 20 projects that would be good to use as a metric. I mean, Bitcoin Cash and I guess Bitcoin SV, you know, but like. And I would bet that a much larger portion of SV people claimed their Bitcoin Cash, that fork, than the Cash to Bitcoin people did. Because like you already have to be like involved and care, you know, about that. But you know, so like there's just so many people that aren't involved or care, or like if you've already made a fuck ton on Bitcoin. And people are like, oh, get this free money. It's like $1,000 or something. Yeah. You're like, hey, why don't you, buzz off, man? I don't care about that at all.
Yeah, you know? There's a lot of people who are just like, I don't care about X. Not even hating on it. Just like, I don't need another airdrop or this or that.
Yep. So. There's a couple people that I know that that wish they had gotten in earlier now, but and we're never gonna free claim. They like I have somebody who bought Hex but wouldn't claim their Bitcoin, refused to. Like
why was that? They thought it was scam.
They were worried. Yeah, they were worried. They thought that they were worried about something happening to their keys or their privacy or something. And like I was like, dog, it's not how that works. I mean, if I get hacked and they're like that's fine for you, but like they're like it's not, the risk reward to them wasn't there, and they're fine giving paying several $1,000s into the system to get some, but like to get the free couple $100 worth or $100 whatever, did not entice them at all.
I thought it was pretty wild. BitBoy's interview with Richard a couple days ago. Like BitBoy had gotten a few $100s worth of Hex, and that's turned into a monster because he got it at the right time.
Yep.
And what better marketing could have been had on that channel and interview for all of his followers to hear that and be like, hey, still here and still talking to
Yeah.
the founder, and still not a scam.
Yep, and he didn't ever call it a scam, but he definitely was on, like, wasn't exactly like, yeah, I'm cool with this. And I mean, even his first interview wasn't like, yeah, Richard knows what he's talking about. He's kind of like, okay, we'll see. I mean, fair enough. I mean, looking back, it's not like every one of us was convinced out the gate either.
All right, David. So you and all the Hex YouTubers are like, yes, that happened. Everyone sounds depressed. LOL. No, that sounds like an unwise statement, because anybody who has followed this project for the year it's been out, or excuse me, product, and before the launch phase, the years before that, I think everybody who is familiar with Hex thought of this as quite possible that the OA could be staking here, and for the reasons that we believe it did. So I'm seeing a lot of FUD out there in other chat rooms that aren't Hex, and they just don't get it. All they see is the headlines. So you see people that just read the headlines of the news, or read the headline of a tweet without reading the article, and then they go out and say it as fact without any context. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing here, because there's a method to the madness, in my opinion, not financial advice.
Oh yeah. There's this. I mean, there's a complete method to it, and it's no one's depressed. Like, I mean, the people that are depressed about it, like, yeah, I understand those. Like, the system is hard to understand, and it's difficult to like wrap your head entirely around it. And I can understand why people might be frustrated or upset if they were looking at this number as something there was some sort of guarantee,
Right.
But like, that was never the case, and like everything else that you've gotten out of Hex, if you've paid attention, has been like, read between the lines. The answer's right there if you just like listen, kind of situation. And this is similar, It's
Same thing,
yeah. I mean, it's part of the game theory, and like you just said, it's part. Well, I think it's a lot of reading in between the lines, because there's a lot of tweets out there from, various higher ups, perhaps in the Hex world, that they're kind of cryptic in a way, but they're also, part of the game theory. And it's like, okay, well, what does this really mean if I think about this in the right context? And if you do that, you start to form this roadmap in your head of, here's how this could possibly go if I'm reading this right, if I'm thinking about this correctly. And man, it actually makes, I mean, as long as you're not too far, off the beaten path there of that roadmap, it makes it more comfortable to be on the journey, because you feel like you get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like Richard doesn't give us, certain hints for the right thing that he thinks that might be good as an investor. I mean, for me, for example, one of my largest stakes, I literally, when I didn't truly understand our product, I was going to just stake it out for that year, right? Same with the claim and stuff. But him just saying what he thought might happen in 2 to 3 years, I was like, that makes sense. So I staked it longer, and you can see, well, in my belief, that was the right decision. So definitely helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's all pretty much right there. I mean, longer pays better, yes. Bigger pays better, yes. Those are it. That's like it's very simple. There's not really too much else to it. Spread shit out. Make sure you don't flood yourself out, and I mean, but like it's hard, because everybody has their own timeline and horizons,
exactly.
and belief of anything. But like I have a cat that I that like was just insistent on trading, and like messing around with Hex like that. And I mean, he was, I mean, up up as high as like, you know, like turn, you know, played the game, you know, had like 1 million and something, you know, and went up as high as 5 and down as low as back to where he started and below, you know, and like it took a year of playing this game for him to like come out lower than before and be like, oh, I should probably stake these. And you're like, I mean, I did say that 8 months ago, but yeah, I can't. Yeah, exactly. I can't win them all, man. You know,
can't save everybody, man.
No, you can't. You know, I used to say that a lot when I was doing like music festival stuff. I was like, man, I can't force people to have fun, man. You just cannot. You know, so if they're not going to do the right thing, then you know that's up to them. You know.
Yeah, and I think Hexo has been tweeting about this, saying, you know, hey, at the end of, you know, when the tide goes out, we could be looking at like 80, 90% staked, you know, in the matter of days, weeks. Yeah, you have a take on where our little pie chart here could be end of day tomorrow before the big payday?
Well, I believe if you want my personal number,
speculation. So.
Yeah, this is totally speculation, but like if you believe that the origin address has the ability to have 80 something, like before, like 40 some odd 50%, 45 to 50% of the coins, and there's a lot of benevolent whales that have been absorbing lots of the adoption amplifier to keep the price matched, then those combined come to somewhere around, it's your De Beers, that's your 85% of the total supply. And like if that's somewhere in there, and before that we had 12 to 13% of like true hexagons of belief in the system at an average stake length of 4.5 years, then like you've got 10% to dump, maybe less than that, 7% to like that's actually liquid in the system that's possible to be like moved around and stuff. I mean, so like staked total, I think that you could easily see 85 to 92%, maybe higher.
And to me, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
I mean, that's scarcity there. I mean, everybody likes to talk scarcity in Bitcoin, 21 million. But I mean, if you're, looking at HEX a few days ago and you're like 12, 13%, oh, there's no scarcity here. And, it's going to take a lot for all the price to go up with all these 500 million coins coming to market every day. And man, the game just changed like that. So,
yep.
That's wild. Yeah, I agree with that. 80, I can see it.
I was gonna say I wanted to bring up this chart here, and for some it might be depressing, so I'm sorry, but I find it also humorous at the same time. Or I'm on the other side of that. I do find it humorous. And that is the staking chart and what has happened to it.
Wow,
that's wild.
So this is like a year's worth from now, and you used to have this nice wave of after big payday, and that has basically just disappeared.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like Richard likes to show the HEX price, up here, and everybody else and their coins down here. Well, the stakes on big payday or right after have just totally obliterated anything else in that chart. So to see anything else in that chart, we're going to have to get by the next couple days here. That is crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts. I mean, it shows the power that the OA has, and like it's going to, if it continues to do the best thing for the overall strength of the project, then like great, everything's working as planned. Fantastic. I love when Richard was talking on stream. I think it was to BitBoy about it when he was like, yeah, I didn't even know that this is like, we did all the things that we thought were going to make it right, but then as soon as I saw some whale come along and drop 50 grand in the system and stake it for 10 years, I was like, all right, this works. We're good here.
Yeah.
It's like everything's good. It's just this system complete. Like that was I can't say it any better. Because like that's only spiraled to much more now. So
Yeah, and I could very well mean nothing, but I do find it interesting that he's brought up that point within the past, I guess, less than a week or so about, a big whale can come in at any moment. You don't know when, and just
10x.
boop, and price go up, and you're not going to get it for what it was yesterday ever again.
Mm-hmm. And there's enough talk about that to like if somebody that's sitting on millions and millions and millions of dollars of Ethereum bought already millions of dollars of HEX, like why wouldn't they defend their investment if it goes to whatever their price point is that they were happy to accumulate before?
Yeah.
Why,
I was talking about this. I think maybe Friday. It's like, okay, well, we know that one of these huge whales bought right around or under a penny, and that's kind of like a line in the sand there. And it's like, okay, well, I know we're under it right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think we're going to stay here forever? Is that whale just going to be like, okay, well, lost that one? Or if you have tens of millions of USD in Ethereum, I would think if it were me, I would be lying in wait for a great opportunity. And if I got that opportunity, and I don't know what that opportunity is, I've been trying to toss some things around in my brain about, price direction and when would be a good time for such a whale to make a big move or splash, if you will. But I believe it's going to happen. I'm not, no financial advice here, just speculation. But it's just a matter of when, in my opinion.
They have to feel like the sellers are getting exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
So like that's something that I feel like is a part of it. Like they're not trying to they're probably not trying to just hand over tons of money to everybody, and so they're probably not trying to catch like the sharpest of falling knives, So
and that'd be
so finding a reasonable bottom and being comfortable there for a week, or so, like give it a 7-day bottom, before you could even consider wanting to maybe this is the time to jump in, that way. I would think, because if you could be pretty, if you're spending that much money, and then you'd think you'd be doing some analysis too to see if you're going, how many people are there that can have some dump possibilities on you too. So I mean, or maybe not. Maybe they just got a fat finger and a fat bag,
Right. Yeah, and it's a good point there. And it's like, okay, well, for the tide to go out, originally I was personally looking at, say, a week at least after a big payday, because hidden now, after that giant spike there on the left, is still billions of HEX, I think, coming due this weekend, or, ending stake. And that's still a lot of supply.
Yeah, so, I believe it's about, in principle, there's about 7 billion over the first 30 days, I think, or so.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So it's still a quarter of what the OA was putting out monthly, but that's still a good portion of coins, although my worst fears of if the OA didn't stake and 7 billion coins became 50 billion coins, that would be, or whatever, 30 billion, something crazy like that, then that would be not a good situation. Then you might dump forever, that might be tough, but that's not the case. People paid good money for this HEX, and now they're going to get a little bonus, but
but it's cool. Long term, that's what it's about. That's why we're here.
And then that will be worth more long term.
And the thing that people have to remember too is that this is a 1-day event. It's not actually something that affects you for the way that it affects you is that if you got in beforehand, the share rate you got was great. But if you it's not something that ruins the system for everybody that gets in afterwards. In fact, if that's why that you don't have that money become part, you don't get T shares for your big payday bonus,
Right.
So because of that, it's okay. I don't find the danger in there becoming this runaway, it's the issue that some of the staking coins can have, the old staking coins of like Masternode days, is that you can have big whales that like just suck up so much supply that they end up outsizing everyone's percentages, massively, and I don't think that that's a possibility in the same way in this system.
Well, the pants here. Let's bring on another Hexkin for the end of launch phase.
Hey,
Brad, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up,
How you
brother?
doing? I like your hat.
thank you.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Anyone else getting slaughtered out there?
I love it. I love it.
It's all
Yeah.
good. It's all good. It was a little bit of a heart attack when I first saw it, and then it's like the more I've been listening to other people talk about it, the more I'm getting okay with it. Like Silver the Antidote, he really helped a lot. RG3 helped a lot. But yeah, no, I totally get it now. It's kind of like, hey, we're getting rid of these short-term, big payday guys.
It's crazy because like if you listen to some of the interviews, you can see, I forgot which one, if it was on Discord or Syndicate or not, but you can see Richard like really wanting these traders to get in, like throughout the interviews, like really stressing getting in because he knew, So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty awesome.
He's still begging for people to short
Yeah,
it, for that ability to come.
try.
I saw a lot of opportunity for trading right after big payday too. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a lot of dry powder. I'm gonna try and buy at the bottom, and then like I'm gonna watch it go up, and maybe I can sell it at the top, and I can, or like when I start seeing it drop down, maybe I'll sell some liquid hex, and then buy some more at the bottom. Because I anticipated a lot of wicking because I thought there would be a big dump right after big payday because there's so many people who don't deserve the hex are going to get the hex, right? So I was just anticipating the wicking. I'm like, you know what? There might be some trading opportunity to be had. Of course, I'm sitting here with monthly stakes for 15 years. So like I'm all in,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, you know what? There is a little bit of a gambling, thing to be had that maybe like a little just for fun, just a little funsy.
Oh, I feel you, brother. I feel you. I mean, like, there's the guy I think I talked about it before. I have like my shitcoin trader wallet that like now it's all just a hex right now, but yeah, I have a little funsy tradesy thing just to feel the sentiment of everybody else that's in the same boat, to see what I would do if I had if I was in that situation, and it's the last week while I've been watching it, I've just made the conscious decision that like I wouldn't sell if it was unless it was over a penny and I was buying it under 0.8, and like I've watched these wicks and I've done it like 2 times now where I was like, oh, these are sick moves, and like acquired a little bit more just to fool around with it. I mean, who knows, I'll make a bad trade next time and lose it all or whatever, but like I'm sure that it's a gameable thing. I mean, I'm not a great trader by any means, and so like if I can make a plan like that and like have stuck to it a couple times, then like I'm sure that there's other people in the system that are netting value from trading it as well. Like it's very possible.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'm sitting here at 100% staked, and I'm just like watching these like swing trades of 72, 65.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, it's the moves are very fucking very. I mean, I've had several people send me little roller coaster emojis along this ride here.
I can't even watch it, man.
Yeah, you got to do you got to do something else. That's why the Cabana challenges that was awesome, man. Because like I would have something else to pay attention to and like try and do think about or whatever for a little bit of my time. Something to, because I definitely like. This has supplanted any sort of gaming or any sort of other like waste of time shit that I do. This has supplanted most of that, for the past year. So,
it's so funny because it's like it's called game theory, and the game just changed. All right.
Yep.
All right, motherfuckers. Now what are you gonna do? All right.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing is that it's the same. It's the same shit too. Like we knew this, like we knew the rules, how it works, and now it's just like now it's the reality of it is hitting. This is why it works that way.
I
This
think
is
as
why.
time went on, people's perception, especially you have newer people that were coming in having a different perception about the OA and how things were staked, how relevant was big payday and stuff. And then the minute this happens, reality just sets back in for some people. So you have a lot of newer Hexicans that probably had no idea that all of us thought like this, like that the OA could do something like this. So.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier, is like just looking in other chat rooms that aren't necessarily Hex friendly, and it is I'm in those chat rooms because I do like to read a lot of different opinions because it keeps me grounded. So if you're just in your like own coins bubble and just reading bullish things, that's not good for you in my opinion. So I like to read the opposite perspective because you know what, these other guys, they could be holding some of this stuff, and what's their mentality and how fidgety are they, and it's clear that they don't understand it, which I can't blame them because we're immersed in it. Like I see you guys on stream, you're discussing it, you can speak knowledgeably about the product, whereas these guys aren't. They just see, like I was saying earlier, headlines, and it's just like, oh, the origin is staking and it's wrecking everyone, and it's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Wasn't the narrative that it was gonna sell everything during the payday?
Yeah, that was
funny. It's like they look for anything and they don't know about the product at all. And then, even today, I seen a post by Johnny, and I think it was what was her name, Crypto Queen or something.
Yeah,
like
I saw that post,
and I just think it's hilarious because she was like trying to laugh because she saw price going down, not understanding why certain things were happening. Has no idea about what's going on in Hex. So I think that's hilarious.
It was, the initial reaction yesterday was really interesting because obviously we've dropped since then, but I mean the staking was going on all morning and Hex just kept climbing to up over a penny, and then now it's obviously settled back down, but it was funny to see that initial reaction because it's like, okay, well, if like we were talking about 80 to 90% it's staked, days, weeks, whatever down the road, that supply is cut off, locked away, hopefully for a long time, and it's a scarcity thing, and then shares only get scarcer.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a lot of stakes going out for over 1,000 days.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I'm really excited. Like it's just impressive. I think that I'm very, very like that's as designed. I mean, it's just.
And remember, just because some of our big payday was taken away from us, right, doesn't mean it can't ever be given back. Just saying, like there's mechanisms within the smart contract to give back to the community. So, it's probably for the best to be in this for the long run.
Yeah, I mean, who was talking about that? Silver was talking about that. That because of all of the stakes that end at the 10-year mark, there's a potential for a similar type of event to happen because where but you would dilute the ability for people to buy up shares, at a later date or dump, which I mean, I guess it really wouldn't stop them from dumping, but you could dilute people out that are trying to buy up more shares with their Hex afterwards, because there is going to be a whole lot of coin. Like that's the next big point. There's like the biggest next point in the system is the 10-year.
Yeah, before OA wrecked that staking chart we had up earlier, you had two goalposts, and you had this one and the one 10 years. I mean, that was a spike. I mean, you could hold it back and see it, and in between, you'll have a decent bump or two every now and then. I think the one after this next week is mid-March, I want to say, where I think there was like $1 billion or $2 billion that comes due then, and then it settles back down again. But pretty much once we get to January, we're flattening out until that mid-March bump there.
Yep.
So
yeah, it goes like 7 billion, 2 billion, and then less than that, by a considerable amount real quick. So, by the monthly, how many are coming out? So yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm excited to, like, part of me is stoked to get through Big Payday because I know that there's lots more fun stuff to come, and like a large part of what the fun stuff is to come is, generally speaking, relatively unknown or uncreated yet. Like the Hexagon community, and all of us together are going to create all sorts of cool things and use this in lots of different unique ways. I know I have plans too. I have several wallets with several unique ideas, I think, put together for possibilities in the future. And I think that I'm definitely not the only one out there with ideas of what we can do. And so, like, I think that the marketing possibilities, the event possibilities, the other things that are coming up after this are all going to be super fun. And like, relatively speaking, like this, we've known about this event. This is the one thing that we've known about. Everything else is like unknown until somebody creates it and makes it happen. So I'm very excited for the future. Like it's very bright.
Think about all the devs that are probably going to get on board with Hex right now. Like, that to me is really interesting. Like, I talked to a couple devs, I want to say 5-6 months ago for some retarded project, but I just talking to them, I'm trying to learn programming as well. And yeah, a lot of them are, I don't like Hex. I'm like, why? I just don't trust Richard, this and that. So, with all this new information that's coming out, who knows, 3 or 4 months from now, I'm like, oh, that Richard guy, he's not so bad. And we might have a lot more devs in the space that are working on projects, related to Hex or accepting Hex. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's coming around, like if for us, it would be a very big deal if some of these other, if we ended up on another, platform as well, it would be super awesome to see developers integrate Hex. I love this comment. This is great. Yep. Temporary blip, man. Great.
What I like about getting past Big Payday is what you're working with at that point. Like, the mystery's kind of gone, and like, you got your wallet, and it's not bumping up and down, and you're not going to get a severe haircut. You got what you got in a way. What's coming in terms of interest pretty much. And so kind of from there on, it's, you're kind of in Goldilocks territory there, because you just get to watch your stuff grow and sit back and chill. And yeah, it gets really exciting. I mean, the whole build up, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why we're here. It's end of launch phase. Like, this week has been just like crazy. And we got another 2 days left. I mean, this time Thursday night, I can't even imagine, the excitement then, because tonight was exciting. You know what I mean?
The lemon party?
The lemon party was amazing, bro.
Wow, that was so awesome. Dude, I've never seen so many. Dude, Hexo got like 40,000 individual lemons within like 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, his like the total limit was like what, 130,000 he made, plus something like that. It's freaking incredible.
I started at 90,000 when he said, "All right, there's like 5 more minutes." And I just kept on cooking one lemon every like 4 seconds.
About like $1,700 or something like that. It's about.
He deserves it. But
freezing on my end, all the lemons going through.
RG3, he totally called it. He said, "Hey, your Big Payday, it's going to be like a 2 to 3x." Awesome, that's great. That's a lot of money. But if you stake 10 to 15 years, you're going to be making, what was it, 80x for 10 years, and conservatively 250x for 15 years. I mean, what do you want? Do you want a 2x or do you want an 80x? Do you want a 3x or do you want a 250x?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's nice is that they're like you get them if you're gonna make that move, you get them both. You get the 2x, and then you got to wait for it, but you'll get all of that, and like now because of the highest percentage of the OA staking, like if you do a short stake, you ain't getting a 2x, you're getting a 0.4x. That's
Hey, so just remember, your boy RG3 told you guys,
yeah,
emergency and stake it longer. You were told by the captain what you should have done, and if you didn't do it, it's your own damn fault.
That's pretty good. That's really good. You sound just like. I like the fact that he's been holding that pistol for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, right. No, he definitely needs to have that on every stream.
Yeah.
I want a RG3 if you're watching. I want a cabin on your pirate ship. I need my own custom room. I've been here since way before day one.
It's going to be the largest pirate vessel, kind of like a cruise ship.
It's a crew line, cruiser. That's funny.
I want like the suite,
You know what, man? I don't know what happened, but like on my Facebook, I keep getting like ads for boats. Like they're like, hey, do you want to buy this boat? It's only like $3.5 million. I'm like, dude.
Who's seen the Silent 80? I want one of those bad boys, man. That's my ticket. I'm all about it. Yeah, go. Yeah, if you want to do a little quick screen share and look this bad boy up, I can let me show it right here.
Brandon, I want to live in a cabin surrounded by snowy mountains and icy rivers. Have a secret magic mushroom garden.
You'll get that garden, sir. You'll get that garden.
I'll take mine by the beach. I'm the opposite of that view, but to each their own. I'll even come visit. You can come visit me.
I need you guys to start posting more in Hex Streams. Like I really want to see it. I know.
No, there's no more Hex Streams, guys. That got nixed. Right? That big payday got taken away from you. Oh, just kidding.
That's what the haters want you to think. Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
That's like one reason I really did not look at Big Payday. I was like, Hexo. I mean, I looked at it, but I didn't count on anything I saw there because I knew that was totally in flux. Yeah. And I didn't have my heart set on anything. To me, it's just a bonus. Like I got my principal, I got my interests, I got my stakes going out. I'm totally good there. Anything on top of that, awesome. So I think I'll be happy no matter what happens. But if this is all as we believe, in long-term interests of the product, then man, what we have we're even more secure now. So.
Do you guys ever just think about Hex at $1?
Yeah, I do.
Just like you just said.
He's like, I do.
You know what? So here's the deal with Hex being at $1. I thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, there's no way Hex could get to $1 because that would mean I have way, way too much money. So I'm like, no, it's never going to get there. But I mean, you know what? Now that we've had the pullback, the tide has kind of come back a little bit. I'm like, okay, $1 is a lot more comfortable now.
Yeah, depends. I know we talk about market cap as a metric, but okay, well, if some sites only count supply that's actually out there and they don't count the stake supply, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, well, this coin is worth billions, it can't be in the top 10. Well, okay, so our market cap
XRP, if they can do what they did, I'm $1. I'm not too worried, to be honest with you.
But I mean,
totally.
You get there almost, I wouldn't say quicker, but just like, okay, well, if we've cut the supply by like 80-90% or whatever that's countable, then that's that little piece of pie. It can go, it has so much more room to get to those billions of market cap, depending upon the count, of course.
Hey, do you guys ever ask yourself why Ripple Labs and Brad Garlic Bread doesn't like gamify XRP, ZERP, like Richard does. Like, why don't they?
It's too late. That ship sailed, man.
They're just bad at what they do.
Yeah, I think that's
Rock.
bad. For what they were trying to gamify, they did it. You know, they had a big bag of their coin. They convinced everyone to buy in, and now they've been able to sell out mercilessly on people for what is basically ever.
But
You know,
can't
so
they
like
do like a
their
stock
game
buyback?
theory is on point. It's still working.
No, it's 100% true. But couldn't they do like a coin buyback to just like float up the price and like make everyone think, okay, this is the future? You know, with all their the banks are adopting it propaganda. I'm wondering why they just fucking shit the bed with it. And Richard Hart is like the first person to really make, interesting games.
Because I think because before the game it was easy. It was so easy. You just forked it and changed the proof of work, and you made yourself a millionaire on Litecoin or what the fuck ever. You know, like that was like it was that easy. You know, like there's
Litecoin is where I made my fortune, by the way.
yeah.
I bought it at $1.35, and I just sold it recently for HEX. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, it does. That's the kind of stuff though that like before that was the speculation. You know, like the speculation was enough for the game theory to work. You know, so like they didn't. You know, like that was enough in Litecoin and in Ripple. You know, the speculation and the like the what's the fake partnership buzz vibe. You know, because of that, they were able to also pump things up a lot. You know, those are the big things that I think that like after that though, you're right. They're like, I mean, all the low hanging fruit is like in that regard is over in crypto. You know, you're not gonna like. It was a big deal when there was. I can remember still when Coin Market Cap like we're only had a few hundred coins on it. You know, or 100 and something coins on it, and like when they started just ballooning up to these crazy numbers of coins, you're like, what the fuck? Like, you know, then like to stand above that crowd, you really have to, you know, up the ante, you know, and provide a product that's actually like has product market fit, you know, and none of the other shit did. I mean, all it was the product market fit was degenerate gamblers speculating, and like that was enough for a long time.
Well, Johnny brings up a good point. So, what do you think in the future for these future crypto projects? I mean, we have seen some copycats already, but how do you think HEX is going to influence new projects coming into the space?
It's influencing the new ones. It's influencing the old ones. It's like, I mean, it's already, you're right. It forces everybody to raise the bar and like be better. You know, you have to offer things that actually like products and, you know, and that actually work. You know, we do faster transactions. We do anonymous stuff. We do have all these pieces that are already there. So like, if you can't offer all those things easier and better, you know, which takes a lot of game theory to figure out, like you can't offer people staking returns without the share rate on the blockchain. It just won't work, you know? So like you now have to steal ideas that were previously, you know, that like HEX came up with and somehow make it better when we've had the better part of 2.5, 3 years to try and do that already. Like, okay, good luck. You know, like
I think it's probably what a lot of new coins are going to have to start adopting is like a carrot and stick, bonus system or benefit system where like, hey, you're going to get a benefit, but you're also going to get hit with a stick if you don't do what you said you're going to do.
Yep. Yeah, those levers are super crucial. You know, that's what I mean. Richard doesn't talk about it that much anymore, but I remember him talking quite a bit before the launch of like the bank term dark patterns and how dark patterns are in everything. You know, they're in like the check cashing system that you cash your most expensive one first and then bounce you 10 times over, you know, on all your smaller ones, you know, that kind of stuff is not only does it seem like naughty or like, ouch, you're a jerk, you know, but it's also like necessary and like makes people honest and keeps people like, you know, afraid of doing the wrong thing, you know. Without that, people probably would do the wrong thing. If you don't, It's like that people like, they don't like cheap stuff. They like expensive stuff. Like people don't like to lose money. They don't like to do the wrong thing if they can help it, like they're not trying to do that, So, yeah, I think it's great. This carrot and stick shit is that's what makes it awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I like this question too. I've been thinking about it for a minute now. Like, what is actually worthwhile to replace in the banks? I mean, it's funny because like Hex does, you could like, it's not tax-free vehicle by any means, but like Hex already does both the time deposits, but also really kind of retirement too. Like, I mean, that's what it's. I mean, I guess it's the problem is it's not. There's not like a. You'd have to like re-ladder your stuff to get to do some sort of like starting at 20 to get to 65, but that might be something like a extended Hex that you can start, that you can actually stake for, I wonder if you could do that. Like if you can't, if you could wrap Hex onto something else, you could then like have auto set up to restake for, your I don't know how you do that, but like a longer version,
I think I coined the term, and I'm going to take credit for it. I believe I coined the term, the 401h, to replace the
401h. Yeah. I like that. I had a friend of mine tell me that though, dude. I had a friend of mine tell me like just today that he was like, man, I feel like with Hex I can have a family now. I feel like with Hex I have a future now. Like this is somebody who like is great at what he does and is great at was like a high end chef before, not chef, restaurant server before at like high end classy places, and like does very well and everything. But when you work gig work in general, I mean it's very difficult to set aside some sort of 20, 30, 40 year fund. It's just not built into the design of the work, that workplace. So like this is something that like up until he had these stakes set up, he didn't even think that having money in the future was something that was like a possibility, was even an option. It's really cool to hear him say that. Like I was like, hey, that's awesome, man. That's big,
Dude, I had such a weight lifted off my shoulders once I got done doing my 15-year monthly stakes, because I'm like, you know what? Like even if this doesn't really take off and it just kind of stays where it's at, like I'm going to have a monthly allowance at least for the next 15 years, and that's going to just help. And then like all the big payday attached to that, I'm like, now it's not just even an allowance, but like that's like a couple bills. And even with the pullback that we saw the last 2 days, it's still like I'm looking at my 15-year long stakes. I'm still like, I'm going to triple my stack at this point. So I'm like, just so I just kind of recommend to everybody, like if you can just stake to 15 years and just keep doing it every single month. Eventually, you're gonna be here in 15 years, and you're gonna start reaping those rewards.
Yep.
And if you can, it's expensive, because trust me, I did like $100 a month, and it cost me 20 grand just to do that. And so but you don't need to do it all at once like I did. You can do it $100 a month every single month, and eventually you're going to hit that 15-year stake, and now you're going to have 15 years of income coming in, and it's going to change your life.
Yep.
Yeah, Motley, you have to incentivize good behavior. Most don't know what's in their best interest when it comes to investing. They're more concerned with the get rich quick schemes. They don't understand the the work and sacrifice that goes on behind the scenes. Yeah, and that's exactly like kind of what the OA, we speculate, was looking out for. Is like, okay, well, you have this wave of unstaking coming due, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, in the billions. And it's like, okay, well, that's not what HEX is designed for. And really, that could hurt the long-term stakers. This is speculation, of course, but everybody that staked 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, how long would it take to recuperate from massive dumps right after big payday if there isn't, a huge whale set out there to be buying up all that HEX? I mean, that could really kind of derail. I'm sure HEX would be fine, but it could, set it back, a few months. And I like I said, I've said it all summer. The OA is your friend, is my opinion. It's been my belief, and I'm sticking by it. And I'm totally cool with the stakes that have been made.
The thing that I tend to like most about HEX is if everybody notices, like everybody in the community is getting smarter, right? Together. We know about our product, right? We know what it is. Like you can argue with a hater on Twitter, and have the details and then just can't say anything and then have to go sue, right? It's just cool. It's cool to see that. And then also the mentality changes, right? Like we're more hodlers now. And I think that's really interesting in itself too. It's literally changing our behavior pattern. And I think that's awesome.
As internet lurker, nice segue, Franklin. we become a degenerate gambler due to longer staker.
Lurker is funny, man. He's hilarious.
You couldn't time that any better.
Yeah.
Richard said from the very beginning, "This is Johnny Chaos." If you were listening, and I know many here were, a person staking for a few days, a person staking for a few days should not be able to pull from people who have been in from day one. Amen, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yet at the very same time, Big Payday was here, and to give everybody a chance this whole first year, a truly fair and free, honest chance to get involved. Like you've had all the time in the world, you've had all the opportunity. Like there's advertisements all over the place getting people involved. Like there's no excuse for it at this point. I mean,
and even if you get in, like right now, at the very latest, there's still meat on the table. It's just it's 50 years down at the end of the table.
I mean, even. I think that even if you get in after Big Payday and you have at least a 2-year time horizon, year and a half to 2-year time horizon, you'll do just fine. You'll be very happy with yourself, with your situation. I think there's those that got in early will get their sick little bonus, and a higher share rate in the future. But I think that the system is it's a traditional CD. If you get in for an 18-month CD, you still make your 0.2%, your little bit of interest, and that's good. And I think that this will too. I think there will be meat on the bones for everybody to do well, even if you have a mediocre to short time horizon in the future. But that doesn't mean that that this event was meant to crush the price.
Can you set up multiple stakes and pay only one gas fee currently? Yeah, I think that's a dream of many, but
I think that'll be available. I would when I was testing Staker's alpha version, we tested that out. Staker.app will eventually. I mean, no promises, no financial, no forward-looking anything. But I believe that that's something that they had. It worked great on our alpha testing. So that's something that in the future I imagine will be possible.
Well, that will come in handy for some people that I know did a ton of staking.
Yes.
Daily, weekly, if you can get out of some of those and, in bulk. And just to touch on, we started off recapping the Cabana Challenge stream. So Motley is still on point here because Rosales is like, hey man, get on here. And what's Motley doing? Working out. Sorry.
That's right. Keep on it, man. Shit.
Hashtag Cabana Challenge. Stay in it, brother. That's right.
Yeah, it's the thing is the growing together and the knowledge of HEX over the past year. It's really super cool. Like what Molly said, is it it's funny. I'll finish a stream and my wife will be like, in the middle of a pandemic, and I still get to like hang out with cats and do our thing online, you know, whatever. And like I'm busy as shit, you know, with Hex stuff all the time. And like and she's like, man, it's pretty nice that you have that, you know, like you got all these like a bunch of cats to shoot the shit with on the regular. That's pretty kick ass, you know. Like I mean, it is definitely something to be said that you know that there's that it's nice to have a tight knit community that wants to learn. Like I've lost weight because of this group, you know. Like I feel more intelligent about the system that I'm you know investing in. You know, there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefits. You know.
Yeah. Think about all the people that learned about, you know, digital signatures, right? Even Hexo, right? Getting better with like Photoshop and everything. It's like a lot of people analysis, you know, channel analysis. Just the Hex community is just awesome, right? We're all learning together.
Yeah, there's stuff. Ethless batch staking Hex coming very soon. Hopefully before end of the year.
Yeah.
There it is, man. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That's what people love. I like the idea that how like Staker app does a great job at like limiting, like honestly limiting even your realization that you're using Hex. You know, like you're just using a financial product that, you know, and the statistics are all there to, you know, make it work for you. And it looks like it's in dollars for the most part. You know, it's great. I think that's, you know, I think it's a great system. I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah, when I did my monthly staking, you know, 15 years, you know, each month, that's like 180 months. And at the time I was doing it, freaking the gas was like $2 per transaction. So it cost me like $400 just to make all those freaking stakes.
I feel lucky that I did all that. I did like a ladder like that too. But I did it like way back in, you know, when gas was a penny or two a piece, man. Those were the days.
Well, when was that? Let me see.
That was like January, February time. Yeah.
Mine was in the 30 range, the .0030 range. Yeah, that's when I did mine.
Yeah, I love what Johnny's saying. I'm glad you just pulled that up right now. The hours and hours of share discussion, BPD pales in comparison to those shares. Like that's the thing is that like I talked about it just recently. There's a little clip of me talking about the you know, Brendan's math on how many shares there'll be in the system and you know, and how rare they really are. And if you look at a T share as rare as a Bitcoin in the Bitcoin system, but decreasing in number over like actually deflationary. At some point in time, you'll then like you understand that like what is at the current rate a T share is over like right around $100 right now, or a little bit over, maybe it's a little under. But like I could very well see a T share in the future reaching $20,000. That if like that price seems very reasonable to find it at some point in time, which would, you know, be our market top here. You know, so like I like that. Like I love the share discussion. That's really exactly right. That's the unique feature that Hex has that nothing else had before. You know, that's
where the talk is going, because once Big Payday's done, I mean, all right, that's where the focus turns, and it's such an underrated but not for long piece of the game here, and that's the shares. And once, you know, I think I've mentioned this on a couple other streams, but once that, you know, rollover occurs in, you know, 46 hours or whenever it is, that share rate becomes important instantly. And we know it, but I think people will finally start to get it, you know, maybe just a little bit at a time, but finally, you know, our product becomes an official product. Like there's no more mystery math about this big payday mystical event. You know, what happens, how many, you know, coins do you get, and big unknowns, and hopefully, you know, we'll have some more price stability in the chart. And once we get that, once that tide, you know, goes out and we kind of, you know, see what's left and where we're going, you know, then, you know, we got a steady, hopefully slow and steady journey ahead of us.
Each share costs about $77 right now.
Yeah.
77. Okay. So yeah, that's, you know, we've got some room to grow, but yeah, that's and I agree that with time comes some more steadiness. I mean, imagine if we 10x from here, the liquidity of Hex would go from $7 to $9 million to like $70 to $90 million in value. And if that happens, like just like anything else, the higher the liquidity, the more the stability, like, so that's something that like just is important to note for the future, which I think will be like a important to really take appreciation of, and yeah, the T shares into B shares into M shares will be a thing over the years. I mean, like you said, time moves quicker than we think. Before you know it, 27, 28, 30 years will go by, and like literally the price of a hex will be almost close to the price of a share. But like right now, you're right. People, why they don't realize it? Part of it is because of what unit bias, that like, but in a different direction than what we were talking about, like when Richard always talks about Bitcoin. Look at it. Look at the number of shares you get when you stake your hex right now. It's dizzying. It's like insanity. You're like built trillions of shares, like hundreds of trillions of shares. You're like, the fuck kind of numbers does those even mean? What is the difference between trillions and hundreds of trillions and billions? And it's numbers that our brains are kind of like, can't really process that too well. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. So like when those numbers become like, they go from a lot to like, and just than anything else in the system. When you saw the big payday bonus on your that APY bonus go from a lot, you knew that should tell you something in your brain, like that ain't reality. That's going to change a lot, and so it did, and same thing is going to happen here, at some point in time, that over time that'll change a lot, and people will be like, holy shit, you bought how many fucking shares for how little? I cannot believe it. Does not make sense. You bought Bitcoin for what at where?
Yeah,
cannot believe it.
I think RG3 gets the credit for the Genesis shares coinage, because that's what they very well could be, seen as years and years down the road. Is like, oh man, you got like the first round of, you were a T share, bro. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And most people will, and at a certain point, they'll only be able to get, millions of shares, or so it's going to be like,
I mean, less than that over time. Like, I think that there's I want to say I saw a model at some point in time. I can't remember who had done it, that had said that like it would take some like somewhere around 30 some odd years for the price of hex to like become the share rate and the price of hex to become balanced. So like one would overtake.
Let me go in order here.
Yeah, I don't think that Ross Hex, I don't think that that's still off the table. I still think that you'll get your 200x, because like your 200x comes from like those numbers that we come up with, that comes from your interest and and because of your share rate, your bonuses, and so like that actually really has almost nothing to do with the big payday bonus. It's like that's just interest paid, so
yeah,
that doesn't like.
That's 5.55. That's a long ways away, man. And you got to think about, not only the interest, but I think you were getting at as penalties. I mean, if you hang on to that thing, and here's the other thing is, big payday's coming. It's not going to be as big as it was going to be, but it's still a big chunk for everybody. So that's just more ammo for the penalty, scenario, to where if you unstake after big payday, you've already added a ton to your stack. So if you take a penalty now, that's just a whole lump of interest that's going to be tossed back. Yep. And if you have that super long stake, it just acts as a sponge, and you just, soak it up.
Not to mention the penalties we'll see from a lot of other people that are just ESing. You're going to have a lot of people that emergency end stake throughout those years, So
well, and the game changes too, in the sense that like people after us have the opportunity to unstake. Because you remember early in the system, when you unstaked, you didn't pay as much of a price for your unstake early on. Like people were doing it, and it was a couple percent, but if you stake through big payday, it will murder you to unstake your coins. Murder you. You don't get that big payday for sure. So, but what happens after that? What happens if you stake after big payday? Well, we go back to a system that's more balanced across the board. So like people will have the opportunity, because people pull out of their CDs all the time. People pull out of CDs for stupid reasons all the time in the legacy system, and they lose their interest, you know? And so like this is not that much different in that regard. So like you will see that forever, that people will decide that, and they'll have the opportunity to at a less like painful price point than us Genesis shareholders. You know, us Genesis shareholders should feel that like the pain harder if we don't do what we said we'd do.
Just reading the conversation here. So dude's saying Richard could have saved the long-term stakers, who are what matters the most, if you just put in the contract that, say, after 2 years long stakes, you get BPD locked in. And Tyler kind of
I mean, you got to remember we're working with not just game theory, but also like marketing theory too. So like you have to, there has to be something that's like tangible and understandable for people. And like, that's what this is, you know, like you say big payday and like people are like, I get money. I mean, it's like as simple as if it's not a 3-word chant, it's going to be over the head of a lot of people, you know?
Also remember that, I'm not meaning to pick on Dude Demon, but your armchair quarterbacking, you're sitting there, after the fact going, well, you could have done that better. In fact, basically we're all standing on the shoulders of giants right now. There are going to be more smart contracts that offer, that generate interest, just like HEX. They're going to come out in the future because this is such a desirable financial product, and guess what, guys? There's so much money in the world. It doesn't matter if there's 100 different HEX clones. That really doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because I mean, think about it. If we just had 1 million people dumping in $100 a month into HEX, that's $100 million a month flowing into the smart contract. I mean, that's just gonna, like I said, and that's just 1 million people doing $100, and there's just so many people out there. There's enough money in the world for everyone, basically.
Also, we have first movers advantage, right? Which that's cool, but also our product works, right? We don't have those inflation bugs like Bitcoin or whatever. So just having those things give us a huge advantage.
And our product is defendable too. It's not open source for anybody to do whatever they want with it either. It's like that's something that is. I mean, it's got a lot of these like pieces to the puzzle that like are come from different areas of Richard's background, or just like finance in the world, and how things all fit together in general. Like you have to have this like the ability to, the idea that you can use like through a smart contract you can program in these marketable features like big payday, and a variable share rate and stuff like that is incredible in general. It's like it lends yourself to like offer so much to people, and HEX like is the best at that right now. You have to really like, you're tweaking an already really good system if you want to try and change it, and then also doing it from like, well, why would I do, being the second one in line, like why Pepsi wouldn't Coke,
HEX Love, you have about 21 hours and 24 minutes to get those stakes in.
Yes. Yeah,
countdown is on.
I can't wait.
Is on. I'm wondering if like, okay, so this is the 17th today, so this is the last day of Uni's liquidity mining pool. They're voting. I don't know how the vote came out, but they were voting. Where's one of my fellow shitcoin cuddlers to give me the answer to this one? They were had it up to a vote whether or not they're going to continue liquidity mining at Uni. So if they continue it, then I imagine that like we won't see the sort of unbalanced gas fees and possible run up into HEX that I was thinking we might from people looking for yield. due to their uni yield disappearing.
This is one I almost brought up earlier, but this is an interesting question because it's full of speculation, which is we have a fun time doing. But yeah, the other big question is, what does the OA do after these 3-day stakes?
I got some thoughts.
Yeah, I bet you do.
You know me so well.
Lightness, share.
Real quick.
Let's remember what they did last time. They just, to see your future, just look to your past. So like what did the OA do last time when they staked? They did not unstake right away. They used good accounting. And why did they use good accounting? Because they didn't want to mint the coins. And why didn't we want to mint the coins? Because the price hadn't appreciated properly yet. When the price appreciated properly, then it was able to unmint. Then it was able to mint all of those coins, and we rocketed up the market cap ranking, right up. And that was because all sorts of these coins. Yep, right. It's like you're like, why are we going from 1,000 to like several, like to a couple, like 100 to like 90? We went so high so quickly, and and the reason was because we had like the origin address had the ability to mint those coins at their leisure, and when they minted them at their leisure, they chose the proper time to do that. And as they unstaked, we gained quite a bit of traction in that run. Because I believe as we started to appreciate in price, things started to unstake, and then we had a huge pump after that. So I mean, by design, it gets people to it gets eyes on the project by being able to have a lever like that.
That's so funny, man. I never even really thought about that much about the origin address can just stake for even a single. And then not mint them, but just good accounting, and they're still burned, they're still non-existent, but there's the market cap is a lot smaller.
Yep. So my question for everyone to think about, because I don't think that we can count it all right here, but I bet there's even more that we can't. Let's come up with on the stream. What do you believe are all the possible uses for good accounting? Because I have several that I think are cool. I mean, Richard's brought up.
I've only thought of it as a way to delay,
taxation.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the only thing I've ever thought about when I thought about accounting.
I had a friend I couldn't get a hold of that has a little stake tax. I couldn't get a hold of him for like a couple of weeks, and I had literally shown them about the system, and they're like, cool, this is cool. Let me stake some, and we'll check it out in a couple of days, and I'll unstake it, and I'll learn the system. And that was that. Didn't talk to him for fucking week. Couldn't get a hold of this dude. And when I find it, instead of just waiting to get a hold of him forever, I just went on another hex.win and found his address and good accounting his hex for him, and was like, when he finally got a hold of me later, he's like, what about that stuff? And I was like, I just saved your ass. And now you didn't use any coins because I spent $1 of Ethereum for you. Right, you're welcome. You're welcome. So that's one great use for it right there. I mean, here's another use for it. I am somebody we may know, has 2 different residences and chooses to have keys located in both residences for whatever purposes. But a stake comes up or wherever they're at, their keys are locked away or hidden in a trench somewhere, buried under their dog's grave or what the fuck ever. And they're in Fiji enjoying themselves, but they look at their fucking staker app and they're like, oh, God damn it, I got fucking stakes coming up right now, and I'm not going to be able to get home from this badass trip. And why would I want to ruin my good time, with flying to somewhere else to get my hands on my keys when I can just run a good accounting function, and then I'll just mint those coins whenever I have a chance later on at some other, lovely time of my life. That's another good reason for having a good accounting function. You can let's say for some sort of business purposes, like you said, you don't want to mint those coins and take possession of them, or you don't want to prove to any sort of authority figure that you can. You know, I don't want to show that I have the ability to use those keys. So a totally anonymous Ethereum user is the one that decides to good accounting me, you know. Richard brought up the prison one. You know, if you're in prison and somebody needs to, you know, that's you don't trust someone to have your keys, but you need to have someone else run your function for you.
What about also possibly hiding your money from a hacker? So you stake all your HEX for one day, and then you just good accounting it, and it won't show up in your wallet, right?
No,
So
it wouldn't.
if someone were to break into it and they look for your HEX, they're like, no, there's no HEX in here.
They would be able to run the function if they paid attention and like looked through your blockchain stuff. But if they had access to sign your statements, there's and who knows in the future, depending on tax laws and everything else, what else it could be used for.
So what does the UI look like once you run good accounting function? Like what does it look like?
Instead of like it's a green button normally that's like, you know, the end stake button turns to like the little black thing, and it has a little drop down that says end stake or good accounting. And so when you hit that, then it does just like before, where it's like a green exit mint button that you can just mint your coins. Then, you know, it's I mean, it's the same thing. It just is another transaction, but again, you wouldn't notice that, you know, if somebody else good accounting you'd come back and be like, what the fuck is this? This is like the transform. But and it might be different now because the UI changed. How about that? I didn't even know that until today.
That was like, cool. The yellow blinking, like
but you get the UI change for the last one of the yellow blink, blinks.
Little Easter eggs here.
Yeah, the UI graph is good.
Yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and over to the Staker app. It's funny how the Staker app leagues went crazy. Yeah, they did, because holy crap, like the amount of dolphins that just appeared yesterday was wild, and it's not done. So
nope. And there's a lot of lesser, you know, a lot of other things that got pulled. Like, you know, there's a lot less sharks, there's less whales. Oh, they could have diluted the shares this whole time, but they didn't. That's right. Because they feel like that the incentive had to be there for people to stake this, you know, like when there's all this goofy DeFi garbage coming out right now, you needed to have them not dilute your shares early on so that people could so we could use for marketing purposes and, you know, and for incentive purposes, like 25%, you know, interest. Like that looks great, you know. Yes, when they rehosted it. Yep.
How much is our total staked right now? Is it still 23?
No, we're up to like 45%, 48. So
oh,
40.
Wow.
42. Bring it up here.
Yeah, 42.4.
Wow.
So what's the
then like?
Let me check that on hex.com.
That could go. I mean, like I believe, like my prediction was that, like, okay, we went from it's been 24 hours since this OA started staking. Is that right? Has it been like about 24 hours or less?
Yesterday morning. So
yesterday morning. So yeah, a little bit longer than 24 hours now. And we've gone from 12% to 42%. So that's like a 30% increase. So like, could we from now until big payday see another 30%? Like, I mean, maybe 25 to 30% increase. Like I said, I have initially 80%, but that seems, now I'm looking at that, like maybe that's 80, 85% is a little high. But
yeah, a lot's got to happen in the next 21 hours.
Which it's like it's a balancing act too, because like, okay, the origin address or whoever is going to stake out hundreds of stakes, and that's going to start. I mean, like the more other people are staking too, the more gas fees are going to be creeping up. You add in this uni thing too. You know, I mean, like I'm surprised gas is still as cheap as it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too, actually. I was pleasantly surprised when I put in some ETH today.
Yep.
Wasn't too bad.
Yes, Ross Hex, that is exactly right. The leagues will be our shakeup, and it'll be shaken up again, like after the next few days, that can change a lot again. And like it might not change right away either because, it just depends. I guess it will change just as they have to unstake their coins. Now, it could take a little bit longer than you'd think too, because there is the Easter egg feature that like if you don't, you have 2 weeks to unstake your coins, right? So if you have 2 weeks to unstake your coins, almost. If you have 2 weeks to unstake your coins, then like the OA could technically go 3 plus 14 is 17 days before penalties begin to incur without running good accounting or minting the coins. So just it's a possibility. Like whoever's controlling those keys has quite a few stakes to do. I mean, that's a lot. Like that's another question I'd have to ask. Do you think because okay, so we can speculate some things, right? We could talk about the origin address in some interesting ways. We know for a fact that
that's what we do here.
Yeah, we know for a fact that I believe, now that's where I'm going to speculate here, some entity, maybe some human being, is controlling the origin address's keys and has to be to make signed statements to stake coins. That's just by the nature of the system. So if that's the case, what how is that operating? Is it a person that's sitting there with a little Trezor or a little ledger that's sitting there like actually unstaking coins and staking coins one at a time via a list that they've created on a spreadsheet? Or has somebody created another smart contract or API for a program that they've built that can run direct commands on Etherscan to do that for them? Like, I mean, what sort of level of development is still being paid for or to like operate this origin address? I mean, that's a fair question to ask, because like, how is that being done? I mean, to set up hundreds of stakes like this, like I've set up a ladder before, and like it took me like 2-3 days to do my like monthly stake ladder. Like that was not like, it didn't just happen right away. I had to like click it, wait for the transaction to go through, click it, wait for the next transaction to go through, click it, wait for the next transaction to go through. Like that's not exactly time efficient. So you'd imagine that like somebody who's planning on making something happen like this, because if you're doing it individually, then like there could be an attacker that decides that like it doesn't want the origin address to stake, so they're going to flood the network with expensive fees to slow down the ability of them to even stake and make sure that they have to stake. It costs quite a bit of money to be able to get transactions in. I mean, that's a possibility.
I opened like 7 or 8 tabs on my browser. I was
so how are they doing? Because like, again, I mean, I know that I'm not the model of operational security here. I mean, I do the best I can, but I know that if there's there's crypto insurance companies, and like they're probably not going to insure my wallet in the present condition that it's in. This is what it is. But like that's what lengths is the origin address going to secure that stuff? Who is, like I said, what is the process? I want to know. I mean, we may never know, but like that interests the shit out of me.
Yeah, one person, people, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a smart contract to written that like actually accomplishes it all at once, because like there's just no way. Which that means that like to write a smart contract like that's dealing with billions of dollars of value, you like that shit has to be audited too. So now there's like, so who is the auditing company, or who is the people that audited that contract that's going to be running the origin address? And like, and do they know, like, can you search the 20 fucking like now we start to get to play Ace Ventura with the Miami Dolphins, and you start to be like, okay, there's only 10-15 different kick-ass companies out there doing audits. So like, can we figure out, like, it's somewhere in their books that they did an audit for some company, entity, organization that like needed to have a smart contract written that properly stakes and unstakes these coins in mass, so who is that? Where is the audit? How do I find out who this fucking priest in the third world is? The origin, the AA is almost over. I want to know how that motherfucker gets shit done, man. not because I want to like ruin the project, but like just like
know,
yeah, because like the intrigue is incredible to me. I mean, it's a very well done system.
I think what happens is every time Richard ends a stream, he gets up and he just walks off to the right, and like a 10-foot door just opens up vertically, and he walks into a war room. Exactly, it makes that noise, and he walks into a war room that looks like a NASA center, and he's like, "All right, boys, what are we doing here?"
He has Hexo, and they're just typing.
Yeah, he's got like the Captain Kirk, like the Enterprise, like Captain's chair, and he's just like, make it so.
And he goes over to the cage where Hexo is. And says, did you get your daily referrals?
Yeah. I mean, it's I wonder about that stuff because again, like Hex has no CEO and no externalities and stuff, kind of, but that's still like that bit and piece right there is interesting to me because like it doesn't meet like. It was very important during Big Payday. It may not be important, like whatever it does after Big Payday, it can just fucking sit on these coins for eternity if it wants to, and it might not like affect the project going forward if they don't do anything with the coins, But for this situation here, it was super crucial for these coins to exist, and it is super crucial for the Origin address to do exactly what it's doing right now. So like it's that's something that is I think is like like good for Hex, but also is just a matter of constant intrigue for me. Like again, I don't how did it get it done and to what degree and how efficiently.
Like, do you have any ideas on what you're thinking at all? Like.
I mean, I believed that like in like business sense that like you'd think that Richard as a businessman would say if you're going to want to create a company that's going to be lasting past your existence and has like a set of operations, you'd create some kind of blind trust to operate it, and then from there you'd have to have some like direction of who's going to have the power to like within that to operate those keys, who's going to have the power to hire and or manage the developers that are building, or were the tools for this already built ahead of time? Did Richard already know that this stuff needed to be done and was a part of the system, obviously to begin with? So he built the developer built all these staking and unstaking methods for how to have the interact. That would make more sense to me, that like all the systems are already built and in place and ready to be exacted upon. But like again, I still think that there's somebody that has to press a button to say do that thing. I mean.
Yeah, no, totally. Richard is really thought.
Corey is a bot that discourages arbitrage behavior via mathematics. I'm sorry, but that's great. I love it. Yep. Continue, Brazil.
Richard, he's honestly thought of pretty much everything. I mean, everything from how do you prevent Bitcoin maximalist from claiming Hex and dumping it right away, to how do you prevent people who may be into Hex from dumping it right after Big Payday? Because I thought about it. I had a little bit coming out after Big Payday, but I'm like, I thought about it myself. I'm like, man, there is going to be a dumpage. I just know there's going to be a dumpage. I've seen this one too many times, and every other crypto, I know there's going to be a dumpage. I'm staked for a very long time, but I also have a little bit coming out within like a little bit right after Big Payday, and then a little bit like a couple weeks after Big Payday, and then a lot coming out on New Year's. And so I was just like, I was getting really, really nervous. I'm like, man, dude, I know this price is going to dump, but I'm just going to have dry powder on the side to buy the dip. And then we're going to have to just kind of plow through the dumpage. But now Richard has thought about, the dumpage that's coming, and so my point being is this: um, he has to be completely isolated from any kind of thing, and I think I heard Gary Funding Gem say that he believes there's a blind trust, and I've always thought that too. They do what they're gonna do, but you know what? Maybe they take advice from an advisor, and maybe Richard is that advisor, and maybe they just do exactly what their advisor tells them to do. But they, at the end, ultimately do whatever they want to do, and and so that way, hey, Richard can't be held liable for anything. He's never not. So he hasn't taken a account of a single piece of Ethereum or anything. So, I like I said, he's thought of everything, and it's kind of blowing my mind. And so, yeah, I believe, he's completely insulated, and there's probably a blind trust that's really taking care of everything. And who knows, that blind trust might be the hero dev and a couple other people. Who knows?
Yes, I appreciate Hex Patient right there for helping out to. Yeah, you're right. That's not a smart contract because we'd see that. But it's yeah, you're right. Managed by software, most likely. It'd have to be. I mean, like definitely, it just take me too many addresses to be dealing with all in of itself, which might be part of the reason why it's so many addresses split. I mean, like besides the timing on days that you might want to unstake, it might be easier to, you can run a whole set of transactions. If you're doing 10 stakes on there, then one after another with every address instead of waiting for one address to have multiple stakes go through one at a time. Makes sense.
And now we've all had a taste. We've all had a taste of what it feels like to be hex rich, and we've had that pullback. And now, when the big payday is over, I think all of us are a little bit less likely to sell right away because we're like, you know what, man, I kind of want to get back to that peak, right? I mean,
Yep.
I know I would.
Yep.
I think a lot of people will end up that were holding, the coins and thinking about staking, or they have earlier stakes ending, they might just hold, they might not even restake, but they just might hold, there's more.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that a lot of people have a price point, and if it's not there, then why we like you said, Brett, that like there's if they don't, they're gonna might restake, and they're gonna want that price to be back where they thought it was before. I know I want it to be back there. I want it to be much higher.
Right.
I think you brought that up earlier, Kirk, is the price points and having them in mind in advance, because this isn't to sell, but you were using them as kind of like your buy points, and
Yep.
kind of having those targets or prices in mind in advance kind of helps you structure yourself and your buys and sells, rather than just doing it on a whim, and then you're like, without thinking about it, then you're like, oh shit, what did I do? Or you're hoping you made the right move, or it's like, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
Having a plan like that is like super crucial, and like I've gone into Hex from the beginning with with a very long-term plan, but I mean there's been some short-term things along the way that like I was like planning on assessing as we got to each of them, and by having a plan, it's made me more efficient and like less likely to fall into my old traps of like, I mean, I can remember there's already a few times where like I made a plan to be dollar cost averaging and buying coins, and like I did, even though I like the dump was like I felt that pain before where I was like, no, it's so bad. Why am I even doing this? I should be selling, and like by not doing that, I was handsomely rewarded, in upwards price motion, so like the pay like it's patience pays off.
Your this crypto is different, so your mentality has
Has
to do with this one. So that's what
I
it is.
want someone to put Richard Hart's face on Mike Tyson, and then have the quote say, "Everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face."
Yeah, it's true, man. That is true. And man, let me tell you, if a 70% pullback or something, the first time can hit you in the face. I mean, that's for sure.
Someone, I think earlier asked what was the point of all the 3-day stakes from the OA, and I thought about it earlier, and I just remembered it could be to help ratchet up that share price.
Yep.
So now, when people get into HEX now, it's going to be just way up there. So it's basically pumping our bags. It's like having new people, pay more for the same product.
Yeah, because
T-shares.
that is 100% right, and like it's because and like think about what the share rate is. It's an analog for compounding interest. So like what you get when the share rate goes up a lot is that the people that were before, like the people that get in later have to pay more to get in. The people that are earlier, essentially the people that are earlier get more compounding interest faster. That's literally what's happening in that situation. Like it's an analog for it. So it will reward those that were in earlier, and that's what it does, so you just gotta like by the share rate ratcheting up, anybody that's like in this game for the shares and understands that they just made out like bandits. HEX has changed the crypto space. It is for sure, man. It is, man.
I'm concerned, like everything.
I can already feel like my Twitter feed of like all sorts of other crypto influencers and people that I've been like interacted with or been like had seen what they have to say over the years. Like you could already feel them like lose, like they definitely don't hold anywhere near the same gravity in my mind or weight with their words than they held before, and I feel like that'll continue.
It's so funny that you say that because I was actually going for the history of my like YouTube, and like it's just funny. I'm looking at all these like Bitcoin videos, Ethereum, yada yada, and then just hex. Oh yeah, I used to listen to that guy. Yeah, I don't listen to him.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and then you listen to him now, and you're like, man, that guy's kind of coming off, man. That's yeah. It's a good thing. I mean, like that's there's a part of me that's been wondering for a long time since like I saw, because like I had this like very maxi mindset for a minute, and when I was in that mindset, I like asked myself regularly, like, how are all these coins that I see on this market cap site going to disappear? Because like I wanted that so bad, I wanted that so bad. And like, I now understand, or I believe now that like, it's not so much about them disappearing as majority of them will just like fade into irrelevancy. I mean, that's really like the useless products out there will not be relevant going forward. And they'll lose market share and lose brain space and all the rest because there's better stuff out there. I mean, and it's not to say that there's only going to be one crypto by any stroke of the imagination, but like, I don't imagine that, that like the 8,000 or 10,000 cryptos number is going to like, become 25,000, 30. It's just going to keep going up. There at some point in time.
Do you remember Golem coin?
Yeah, I remember that.
Wait, what? Like,
I imagine
come on, that has to be at zero, basically, right? Like, how does that have any value? Like, who's using that?
I mean, that's the thing is that like most of them are like there's a lot of them that have gone to zero too. That like
half of the coins I don't even remember. That there's like ICOs of ICOs on the market.
Red coin, other coin.
I mean, it's right. There's a ton, and I mean, I remember going to a conference where it was just like, you know, one ICO show after another on state. You're just like, man, this all can't work. All of this can't work. It just doesn't. If it did all work in the blockchain, you'd think that like every Fortune 500 company would be like, you know, jumping over themselves to get their hands on this shit.
Yeah, it's wild. I remember I used to go through like Masternode coins, like page by page, trying to see if I could find the next thing. They were just like I mean, I literally would take a, you know, like a highlighter and go through each one of them, and I'm just looking at them like fork of dash, fork of dash, fork. Nothing's different. Oh, page isn't working. This and that. It's just, you know, all this crap.
Oh yeah, I remember doing all that, man. I mean, I remember having a bunch of master nodes and all, like, you know, doing all the like learning so much shit that like in hindsight was like, you know, mostly. I mean, some of the coins that like did scam, or like in hindsight, you'd be like, that the coin is actually called Scamma. If I say that right, it actually says scam outright to me. Like I'm like, oh, that's, huh. Like, you know, there's lots of those that like you're like, I read it wrong. I think I read that wrong. It's actually a scam. I'm fucked. You know. So yeah, I mean, yeah, bring your heroes here to die.
Motley's on a quote binge right now. He's just like throwing them out there. I don't know.
Somebody's flew by.
I love whoever is running the Richard quotes, the disjoint, what is it, like disjoint Richard quotes, where it's just like out of context Richard quotes. Yes, that shit is hilarious, man. We were dying the other day at my place about the one about the butt aliens. Man. That shit is just out of control, like, man.
Well, it was just 10 seconds, but that's all you need, because it's just like that's enough for your mind to wander and be like, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh shit.
It's hilarious.
You guys excited about the 24-hour stream?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. It's crazy because I try to get
a party, guys. It's gonna be a party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I might start drinking again. I don't know.
I mean, you know, I'll be party for the stream of suns.
Big Kurk's got some special sauce.
Oh yeah, I bought a very, very pricey bottle of wine for it. I got a whole little like bottle collection of the HEX stuff, but this one is like 100 and something, 50 something bucks. I never spent that much on a bottle of that. Like I got a bottle of whiskey before, but not wine.
I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's to get a $10 bottle of whiskey.
There you go. I mean, hey, they both get the job done. I'm mostly just you know, smelling my own smug for a minute there. That's all.
If the OA wouldn't have staked, Brizology would have gotten a $30 bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, OA. You stole whiskey from me.
I don't know what I'm getting, man. Whiskey. I'm a rum guy, but yeah, something like that. I like Crown Black. That's a good drinking whiskey.
I love Crown.
I mean, the black is such a good taste to it. So I actually might do that now that I'm thinking about it. Thanks for the idea, Kirk.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Election night, I was with some buddies and we're drinking whiskey and ginger ale type mixed drinks.
That's good. Crown and ginger's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's classic. We went to there's this like speakeasy here in town, like one of those like, you know, super fancy kind of like you need to have a password and shit to get in. But they only do like period drinks and stuff. So we took a bunch of friends there that are just your typical bar crowd kind of people. And sure enough, my buddy's just like, man, I just want a whiskey ginger, and I know that I'm not going to be able to get it. Sure as shit, the good lady comes up and is like, oh, what do you do? We get a whiskey ginger. No, we only have handmade, you know, ginger beer here. And, you know, he's just like, God bless it, man. You know, like when you want just the basic whiskey ginger, there's nothing. It's like the stylistic drink.
Is living out his stakes. I'm telling you.
Give me the finest bottle. Yes, that was me. It was a Publix Greenwise actually. We have a brand new. We have this brand new Publix Greenwise that's here in Florida. That like it's they have like Kobe ribeyes and fillets there. And like I'm sold. It's like classy public, even classier public. So I'm like, oh, so we have a newborn as well. So my wife and I's latest dates have included a glass of wine outside of in the outside seating area of the Greenwise Publix while I go shopping. So it's very, very about as new parents as you can possibly get. So yeah, that's exactly where I got that bottle of wine from, actually.
Oh man.
Yeah, I might have to do Crown. I don't know.
Hey Ross, thanks for stopping by, man. Checking out.
Yeah.
He's been commenting all night, so cool stuff there. Thank you, man.
And remember, guys, in 5 years, no one is going to remember, excuse me, anything that happened today, yesterday, or any of the drama that happened in the last year. Like in 5 years, no one's going to remember any of this. There's going to be a couple of us that do, but there's going to be so many new people that this is going to be completely like
big
hidden history is what it's going to be. And to them, it won't even matter. They're just going to be like, I get a steak and I get this much. Perfect. Done.
But the cool thing about it is that we'll have this stream, we'll have Hexo, we'll have Discourse, and we can look back and hopefully, jokingly think, oh man, remember the days when, Hex was freaking less than a penny?
Oh man, it's the truth, man. That was like, I've been saying it for a minute.
Yeah.
I was saying it. I can't remember. I was talking about it with Hexo the one time where I was like, man, these are like some of the greatest days. Like, having a bunch of money is awesome and shit. I'm not saying that that's not going to be incredible too, but there's something special about like the relationships that we've had a chance to build on stream and with cats and chat and everything that like you can't like it's like when you have a wife and then you get rich and you're like, yeah, but she loves me because she loved me before I had money. There's something that's like real about that we did know each other all like earlier before any of this did go crazy and we built relationships together that mean something, that are cool, and I've learned a fuck ton from it, so it's a great experience, and in some ways we'll look back and be like, remember when we used to go watch Hexo do his thing, and shit, like all that will be remember whens, and they'll be good memories to have, so
those pencil pushing, that's one of my fondest memories from Hexo, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see all the people that come to Hexo Rico. That's
man, me too. I'm excited. I'm super stoked for that. I'm excited because I do think that events will be a thing. I'm sure somebody's gonna want to have a Hex conference and a Hex Fest or a Hex whatever. There's all sorts of ideas to be had with that kind of stuff that I think will be super cool. There's the more the better. If Hex goes up in price a bunch, then if it went up to 5 or 10 cents or whatever, I would be every one of us becomes happily marketing this product further. I'd be gladly buying ads and articles and all the rest too. Why not? So I think it's an upwards and onwards thing from here. I can't wait.
You gonna pump my bags?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, good sir. That's my goals, man. That's my goals.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll pump yours too.
Hell yeah. And yes, I'm excited as shit to be down there, man. I can't wait to be hanging out on the island.
Oh yeah.
How much are billboards in Puerto Rico?
You say what?
That's a good question. You got to hire the classificados online guys. They get those signs up everywhere. They literally you'll be in the jungle walking through jungle paths and there's classificados advertisement. You're like,
bro, you were not lying. That it's everywhere.
On street signs and poles that you're like, how the hell did they even get there? What kind of
Monopoly?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's where I rented the spot that I found off of classificados, and it's G. I'm very excited to be down there. Hex is under a penny, not worth selling. Yep. What does it actually do, man? It sells on the believers.
It's funny because I've seen job postings for XRP and Ample as well, which I think is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Them somehow.
Yeah, that is. It's strange. I mean, Ample's a strange one that's
I don't.
you know, I mean, like, I don't think that there's, what do you need to, I mean, I guess market it, but like, besides that, what else is it? It's just like a rebasing contract.
Yeah. Just trying to keep things going. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that like, if you make something, I mean, that's something that I've learned in crypto. If you have a chance to duct tape a token onto it, or if you have a chance to, like, you know, like, be a middleman somewhere in between it, that's what people somehow are constantly trying to do. So, like, you know, even though your thing might not need a you know, whole company around it, well, are they gonna like just give up that ability to suck income from people? Fuck no. I mean, and I mean, in some like regards, like, you can't blame, like, you can't blame them for sucking. You know, that's all they know.
That's a Big Kurk quote right there. You can't blame them for sucking. It's just all they know.
That's what they got.
And
where they're going.
It was, I think it was Richard's interview today, the podcast interview, which was pretty good. I mean, it's short, but the guy was like, it goes back to the thing. It's like, okay, well, what's next kind of like on the roadmap? And it's just the mentality of like all these other crypto projects out there. And it's like, you know, HEX is kind of finished, you know. You don't promise anything in the future. Like that's the appeal to it. I've had this discussion with a couple other guys. What was it? Litecoin Moses, Dollar Cost Crypto. He was on a stream with me and Dave Levine, and we were talking HEX. What's his Sex Toy Dave? And he was like, okay, well, you know, what does HEX do? Like, what, you know, what?
It makes you stake it to get more. What is it? It's like it's like when people say that stuff, you're just like, I want to shake them like I thought we just told you what it does. Why can't, you know? But like,
yeah, what I was getting at is the general mentality of crypto is like, okay, well, it's got to solve something. It's got to do something. What's the roadmap? What's the main goal? What's the problem? What's the solution? And it's like, well, with HEX, it's done. You have it. The problem and the solution. Well, there's no problem. There's just a solution.
Yeah, I mean, we're attacking a you know, the time deposit market instead of the currency market. It's bigger.
That's what the problem was, right? There was no you know, certificate deposit. Like that's what the problem is, and now that's fixed. So I don't know, man.
Holders wanting to game the situation. The short term will be wrecked. They'll miss big payday bonus. They'll miss emergency and stake penalties. They'll buy shares that will probably be more expensive. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Steph.
You know,
the nice thing, though, is that I will say that if you are at least intelligent enough to have passed the test to get the HEX, then, you know, you might not get totally wrecked, you know, like you at least have HEX, you know. Will you get more? And like, no, because you're not playing by the rules. But if you have it, you know, it's better than not having it. I mean, like it will be much more painful to just sit on the entire sidelines and not watch at least price appreciation. I mean, but yeah, overall, you're totally right. You will be wrecked. You'll be very unhappy while everyone else makes mad gains.
Yeah, man.
I found a guy's video. So this is actually kind of interesting considering the new circumstances of today. But anyways, I found the guy's video from like 10 months ago or maybe 8 months ago, and he was actually pro HEX, and he had like 2 million HEX that he had bought and staked, and his big payday was gonna equal out to I think like 8 million, and he was eventually gonna get like 11 million. And he had a referral code at the bottom of his video, And so I was like, you know what? Like, that's his address. I'm like, let me plug it into Hex.live. Let me just see what, like, let me see what he's doing with that wallet, right? And I plugged it in, and it showed everything. It showed all the stakes that he had, and so basically he had 11 million hex that was coming to him in that video. I saw, because he showed his wallet in that video. He had 11 million hex, and at the time it was worth like $100,000. I was like, damn, he had $100,000, and he was there from the beginning. So that's like a good chunk of change. So I plugged it into Hex.live, and he ended up early in staking and selling basically 2 million hex. So he lost all 8 million big payday that he wasn't going to get, but at the time he was promised like 8 million big payday. He gave all that up, and he sold it at like 0.002, right in that range, because it went from triple zeros to 002 really quickly, and he sold it, and he got maybe like $4,000 for 2 million hex. And I was just like, damn, he sold way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
He probably put in like, I don't know, $150 or something, and saw $4,000, and he's like, I'm out. Like, there's no way it's gonna get better than this. And so, I mean, do the math. You could do 2 million times 0.007, and it's probably still like 15 grand that you missed out on.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a bummer too when someone doesn't, but like, to be fair, it's like lessons like that need to be like that, and it's even better that he shares a video of it all too, so like there's a lesson in all of that,
That's part of the game.
Yep.
But the really funny part about it too is that it was just so random. Like, it was a random video about Hex from like literally like 8 months ago, and he just happened to have his address in the bottom there, and I just randomly decided to plug it into Hex.live, and that same exact day he had put in a stake for the very first time since he sold.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my god, he put that in literally today. It was on the 14th when I first saw it.
Wow, that's wild.
Oh, I mean, at least he's you got to try something. You got to,
hopefully he has more addresses.
He staked it for 2 years too. So good for him.
Better than 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, hey y'all! I just got the wifely call that my baby duty is about to begin here. So,
cool, man, because I was just going to wrap this up because we got a busy week ahead. So
yes, sir.
Go right down the line, man. Tell us where to find you on Twitter or wherever you want. Show your stuff. Go ahead, Kirk.
Big Kurkowski at Big Kurkowski on Twitter. You can find my Dlive, dlive.tv/Big Kurkowski. I'll be working out on doing online my VR workouts there, and some Hex Talk. I also do. We just finished and gave away 500,000 Hex the other day. This season of it, but starting February of next year, Bingo Earth, which is my nonprofit charity bingo game that gives out Hex for payouts in bingo. It's like $10 to play, and all the money goes to charity, and everybody has a chance. I mean, we were doing 20,000 Hex giveaways, and we've been doing that all year for each bingo win, which got very pricey at the end here. I mean, so that'll kind of change a little bit, but I mean, we're all public, so you can check our wallet address out and see when games are coming up by their unstake dates. Which we've got quite a bit in the future to do. So we'll be doing that kind of stuff. You can find us at bingo.earth, and we'll have some guests and fun stuff along the way there. So that's pretty much all for me.
Yeah, bingo is so fun, man.
Yeah,
don't ever stop that.
I need to do that.
Yeah, you do. It's awesome, man.
Franklin, man, chill it.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not hard to find. I'm Franklin St. Hex pretty much everywhere. On Twitter, it's Frank Saint Hex, right? I do have the Hex Dreams channel as well on Telegram, right? And then I'm always in the chat, so you guys look for me.
Briz.
You know, I'm on Telegram, you know, so you can find me on there as Brizology on YouTube, Brizology. And then you can go to my onlyfans.com/Brizology. No, I'm just joking. But not really. Yeah. I'm not really on Twitter, so.
Are you just showing your stakes on OnlyFans, or?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just pictures with ladders.
That might be a good thing. Hey, you Hexicans, if you want to see my stakes, you want to see how long my stake is, you can pay me for it.
Build some sort of curiosity or intrigue. I don't know what you get out of it, but
Still the beans on it being monthly, so all right, guys, have a good night. And
before I forget, I'm sorry.
Yo.
So everyone that's watching, make sure that you go on YouTube or any social media site and you go back to as many old videos of Hex that you can find, and you just start liking them.
Yeah,
start liking them. We got 2 days. Let's get this in. Let's make sure that people can find Hex.
And do that for even the new ones. But if you have multiple accounts, like I'll do this with Richard's videos. If I have a couple business accounts or whatever, I'll just switch them in the YouTube thing, and then
I got 2. I'll be doing that.
I'll just stay on the video and give them like 3 or 4 likes or whatever. It's just but do it with the rest of the community, Discourse, Hexo,
everything,
YouTube. But man, that's a great point, and everybody do that. If you got multiple accounts, especially, I know Funding Jim Gary, he's a big proponent of the multiple account thing. Of course, he talks in multiple accounts, like 10 accounts at a time. If you got them, use them.
Yeah.
So man, that's a great point. So everybody get out there, and especially, we got less than 21 hours now. So, less than 21 hours until you
staking for big payday. Yeah,
payday, and then we got big payday after that. So
go bundle crazy on that YouTube.
We're in the middle of the second of the microcosms. We still got the next one of what's gonna happen the day that there's no staking. Do you think we dump further, or do you think we pump?
Prepare your buttholes for another tactical nuke. All right, guys.
I'm ready.
Yes. Only fans. All right.
Find it there. All right.
Have a good night, guys.
All right.
See y'all. Have a good one too.
Thanks for watching.